Hello, my beautiful, beautiful friend. Have you been feeling the overwhelm? Have you been feeling just down in the dumps, hot mess mom, out of control kind of life? Let me talk to you. I've been a mess. I've been depressed. I've been overwhelmed. I've been to the bottom of the pits. I almost ended my life because, quote, motherhood got to be too much. But I realized a few things. For one, home management is not equivalent to motherhood. You can suck at one while excelling at the other. Okay, girl, I already had everything I needed to see the good in life in order to succeed, in order to thrive and find absolute joy, and so do you. You can be the calm in the storm. You can set the energetic tone for those around you, for your entire household. You hold more power than you've ever realized. You don't have to do anything. You get to. It is your privilege. It's an honor. It's a divine responsibility to be the queen of your home. It's not a burden. You're in charge. You're the ruler. You're the chaos coordinator. You're in control of how you show up in your own life, and you are the main character of your own story. You are surrounded by abundant blessings, not buried in burdens. You are in the exact right place, mama. You're the exact right mom for your kids. It's not a mistake that you were put together on this planet. Of all the moms across all time and space, it's your destiny, your legacy to be with that child. You have to stop. We have to stop this mommy martyrdom narrative. Misery loves its company, but so does excitement and joy. So let's get excited about motherhood again, about life. It's time for more than survival mode. It's time to rise. It's time to thrive. It's time for you to believe to your core that you are meant to bloom. Hello, beautiful friend. I'm so glad to have you here on the show. I want to get super real with you today about fear and anxiety and a sense of dread and doom. And just trying to really deal with anxiety when there is a real, true, prevalent, possible, traumatic sort of experience possibly in your future. So if you live locally to me, I'm in the Pacific Northwest, kind of in the Portland area. Last year we lived in Colton. It's this very tiny town about 30 miles southeast of Portland. And it's kind of backed up along national forest, basically. A lot of BLM land, the Bureau of Land Management, Port Blakely, a lot of logging. It's a logging town, if you're not familiar. Trees everywhere, forests everywhere. And, like up the hill from my house, you just have a mountain of trees that leads to the national forest. So acres and acres and miles of forest. And in 2020, we actually, for the first time in my entire life, had to evacuate my home because there was a Riverside fire, and it was getting really intense. It was covering a lot of land, and it up the road, it got into it got pretty bad. And then there was another smaller fire in the center of town, kind of on the other side of town, on the other side of our house, and we had to evacuate. And that's something I'd never ever dreamt of or had experienced in my past. I lived there in that area for 30 years, and this had never happened before. It was brand new. It was all caused from a windstorm, which where my house was located, there was this windstorm one night, very dry, very hot night, and a lot of trees came down on power lines, and we had 5 different fires within a mile of our home, like basically in our driveway practically. 5 in all of the directions around our home, up the hill, like every transformer around our home had been hit. We were out of power, and we're just watching on, the Pulse Point app, fire crews responding to, confirmed vegetation fire here, confirmed vegetation fire there. And that was really hard and traumatic. And I think it was like 2 days later due to a fire on the other side of town and the giant Riverside fire that was on the other side of our house. We had to leave. And, we were blessed and thankful that we had a camper and we had some family that we could go and stay with, and we had to leave the house for 10 days. And the entire community has this like post-traumatic stress response. Every single time that there's some windstorms on the hot summer night, I know I get real stressed and real antsy about it. And I know that 99 out of 100 times that there's a windstorm, there's not going to be a fire. But that one time out of 100 that there was a fire, in my experience, it was really hard. It was something totally new to deal with. There was a lot of growth from it and things like that. But now here I am, we moved to a new town. And in our new dream house, and here I am once again, under the threat of evacuation. There is not currently an evacuation in place right now. I think they did a level 1 on the other side of town, but there is a fire that is growing, and it is in very old growth forest that apparently hasn't burned in over 600 years and is unmaintained. And it's a very real possibility that, I could lose my dream home and have to move back into the old house because I still have access to that one. And man, that would be rough and difficult, but let me tell you how I'm managing my anxiety here. Now, managing your anxiety when there's an imagined fear can be much, much easier than when there actually is something, scary around the corner, when a very real, tragedy could be in your future. Now, here's the thing. I know how far away it is. I know that it is raining this week, and that is helpful. I know that there are fire crews on call. I know that if winds turn, if weather patterns change, if it becomes a danger, I'm going to get out of the house. And I know I have a place to go. I know my family is going to be safe. I know I can bring my pets with me. I have a plan, and I know that insurance is going to cover our home if we have to rebuild. And I know that we have somewhere to stay while rebuilding if we have to. I know that even in the worst case scenario, everything will turn out fine. So first of all, when you have this anxiety for something, you want to think about, okay, what is the worst case scenario? And what is my plan to navigate that? Create that plan of action that if this happens, if the thing I'm afraid of happens, I know I'm going to be able to handle it in the physical world. But emotionally, how am I going to handle that? Well, emotionally now, your emotions are very much tied into your nervous system. It can be very hard to calm your mind if your body has this anxious energy in it. So you need to find a way to get that anxious energy out now that you have your action plan, right? So there's a 3-point system here to calming the anxiety. Is 1, create that action plan of worst case scenario. If the terrible thing happens, what are you going to do? How will you rise up and take action and put things back in place? Great. Now 2, calm your nervous system. Get the anxious energy out. This can be deep breathing. This can be going through a guided meditation. This could be, having a dance party to move the energy out, going for a walk, something like this. Okay? And you can just straight up Google how to calm your nervous system. Laying with your legs up the wall and deep breathing for 6 minutes, that will literally lower the cortisol, the stress hormone levels in your body. That is an excellent way to to regulate your nervous system, okay? Go and eat something if you're hungry. That can keep you really dysregulated, and little things can feel so much bigger. Big things can feel catastrophic. Eat something, hydrate yourself, take care of yourself. All right, that's number 2, is fix that nervous system. And then number 3, get back into your mind. Okay, you have the worst case scenario. You have a calmed nervous system. And now number 3, you're going to get back into your mind and you're going to think about your desired outcome. You're going to be grateful for what you have right now. We're going to lean into positivity. Okay, you have your action plan in the worst case scenario. So what is the best case scenario? What would you prefer to happen? Let's dream up what you think would make life better, So when I'm dealing with this wildfire traumatic response, this fear of a threat, I first walk myself through that worst case scenario. I know if worst case scenario happens, I know my plan to get through it. That's just realistic. That's logical. I know those mathematical steps to take. Number 2, I'm going to calm my nervous system. I've been doing a lot of deep breathing. As soon as I'm done recording here, I'm going to go eat something to help with the nervous system. You got to keep on going. You got to keep on moving. You got to keep on caring for yourself, right? If I feel like that anxious energy is just getting pent up in me anyway, I'm going to move through it. Okay, I'm going to leave here and I'm going to go reset my house as a means of anxiety management. I'm not going to dwell in the thoughts of what could happen. Okay? And then number 3, I'm going to sit and I'm going to journal about everything I'm grateful for. And I'm going to journal about everything I will be grateful for tomorrow. Okay? If everything goes to plan, exactly how you want it to go. Okay? This is called, what is it? It's like scripting, or, being grateful in future tense. And this can be a really, really powerful practice to bring opportunities into your life, because it's going to open you up to seeing exactly what that future version of you wants to have. Okay? And that's going to help you take the right steps to get there if you get comfortable with the idea of being there now. You can do this with any of your goals, with anything you want in life. Be grateful before you have it. Be grateful where you are now, and be grateful for what is coming your way. It's a very powerful tool, a very powerful practice, and it is really great for relieving anxiety. All right, so that's your 3 points. Make a plan for worst case scenario. Regulate the nervous system. And then get into that gratitude, because that's what's going to keep you moving forward, creating a life that you want to be moving forward towards. Okay, friend? I love you so much. And if you're local or anywhere that's dealing with wildfire threats, oh man, I feel you. It is a rough experience. And I am so blessed that I went 30 years of my life not knowing anything like that at all. It is scary. It really is. And it's okay. It's normal that you feel that way. Everything turns out in your favor in the end. And you've got to hold on to that belief. You've got to believe that it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. All right. I love you so much I am imperfect. I am imperfect. I love you so much, my friend. Are you feeling totally buried in responsibility and burnt out on showing up? Been there, and I created this totally free bundle of resources for you. You have to get the Get Started Guide if you haven't already. If you're ready to strip off the unnecessary baggage and limiting beliefs you've been carrying around, if you're so done making things more difficult than they need to be, if you're ready for guilt-free rest and enjoyment in your life, you need the Get Started Guide. This instant download is full of my favorite resources: the Mindset Makeover, the Stress Less Toolkit, and my super trendy and adorable kitchen templates to make meals and groceries a little bit simpler and a whole lot prettier. The Get Started Guide is made up of tools and practices to help you cope with stress and anxiety. And because so much of your happiness is determined by your mindset, this instant download is what you need to start thinking about the way that you think so you can overcome what's overwhelming you, take control of your days, and love the life you've got. Get your free download of the Get Started Guide today and get started loving your life. Find it in the description below. And thank you so much for listening to this episode today. Your involvement and your encouragement is so loved and appreciated. If you wouldn't mind doing one or all of the following tiny little favors for me, I would so greatly appreciate it. Okay, 1, if you could make sure that you hit the follow button so you don't miss another episode, that's going to benefit you just as much as it does me, maybe more. Number 2, if you could leave me a review down below, especially if you're listening to Apple Podcasts, that would be so appreciated. Literally, I cry over the reviews that I read. I love them so much. It makes me feel so deeply connected to you, and it helps others find my show by recommending it to new listeners every day. And number 3, be bold, be brave, don't be stingy. When you know something, it's your responsibility to share it with a friend. So make it easy, share this episode with a friend, and if you choose to share it on Instagram, can you please tag me, because I would so love to get connected and to see it, at Britt Clarkson. All right, thanks friend, love you so much. Till next time.